All right, welcome back. We're going to continue right on with Matthew 24:7. And again, this is July the 27th of 2011. And I'm going to bring into focus for you what Jesus told us in Matthew 24:7. In that verse, there are many different signs. Wars, rumors of wars. We'd see kingdom against kingdom. Those are three of those things that are in Matthew 24:7. Now, kingdom against kingdom is the civil unrest that we've been seeing, especially since January of 2011. We saw much of it in 2009. We saw some in 2010, based on the European Union, which I will cover in a second here. But we know that civil unrest is definitely going to come. Let me read you some news that came out of the United Kingdom today about this subject. It says the new head of the International Monetary Fund warned European leaders of the possibility of the social instability as a result of the Eurozone's economic problems. Now, if you've been watching the news, you know that, like the United States, the European Union is almost on the borderline of getting rid of the euro that 17 nations are under right now, because they're falling apart and they're trying to prop up these nations, like the United States is trying to keep each individual state from going bankrupt. So there's a lot of chaos right now within the economic systems of both the United States and the European Union. So let me go on. It says, speaking in New York, where she is now based, Christy Lagarde, the former French finance minister, said that in recent economic turbulence, which has seen Greece, Portugal, and Ireland suffer debt crisis, and the spectrum hang over Italy and Spain, could easily resurface despite the lift in the markets after last week's $109 billion bailout package for Greece, referring to the political upheaval in North Africa and the Middle East earlier this year. She said, social problems are of major concern to advanced economies too. So there is a warning by this head of this powerful organization, this International Monetary Fund. And she's worried about Portugal, Spain, Greece, I mean, all of these different nations that are crumbling, Italy. And they know, just like in the beginning of, again in 2011, Greece rioted. And because of they're trying to make these cuts. And we know, I believe without a doubt, that the same thing is going to end up in America. Because America is facing, they're starting to close in on a $15 trillion debt. Nobody's going to be able to pay off that debt. And the economy is even getting worse. And so, look at it this way. If Jesus told you one of the signs in the last days are nation will come against nation and kingdom against kingdom, like you saw Egypt come against Egypt, or Egyptians, to get rid of Mubarak, then you should know that if these people are warning of the same things, why don't you put two to two together and realize you can definitely count on what Jesus told us about what was going to happen in the last days. Take this IMF leader's direction and point it right to the words of Jesus Christ, and you will know that the Bible tells exactly what's going to happen before it's happening, and we're seeing it take place, the footsteps of this taking place right now. So the only thing I could say is watch the news, watch to see what happens with the American dollar, because it's going to crumble. We see that, the values of gold and the silver going up, which I'm going to mention also. But let me go on now to another subject, and this has to do with the rebuilding of Iraq, which is Babylon of the Old Testament. In the book of Revelation, chapter 18, it shows us that Babylon will be rebuilt again. This is the modern day Iraq. Now, I'm going to read, instead of trying to make this up, I'm going to read what I wrote. Hopefully this will be very clear for you and you'll understand the importance of it. Now, concerning modern day Babylon, Iraq it is likely that such impressive wealth and commercial influence could be acquired primarily during a period of seemingly peace and prosperity that may happen in two ways. We could see Iraq stabilize as a new government takes over and allows the nation to begin the rebuilding from its war just prior to the rapture of the church. It could also be that when the rapture of the church takes place and the Antichrist takes over the world, will go through a short period of what appears to be a time of peace. I say this based on Daniel 8:25, where we are told this about the Antichrist. This is a quote right from the Bible. And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart, and by peace shall destroy many. So the first thing that he's going to do when he comes out is going to be by peaceful means, but as an end result, he will be destroying many people. And it goes on to say, he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. In other words, he's going to try to stand up to Jesus Christ, but Jesus is going to destroy him. Now, we know from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 10 through 12, that there will be a strong delusion that will come upon the world, and the people of the world will embrace this delusion as truth, but it will be a lie. And I quote from the Word of God. And in every sort of evil that deceives those who are perishing, they perish because they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a strong, or in this version it says a powerful delusion, so they will believe the lie, and so that all will be condemned who have not believed the truth, but have delighted in the wickedness. Now, let me just keep going on before I get off into a tangent. Could this strong delusion be that the Antichrist will tell the world everyone that vanished at the rapture were those that were evil, and now the world will move into a time of peace? I'm not going to rule this out. If this is the case, Iraq could rise to power under the Antichrist rebuilding direction very quickly. One fact is very clear: Babylon will be rebuilt and accumulate wealth in the last days. There are many things to consider as we watch the current events. First of all, who is Babylon? Babylon, if you read your history, you would understand that Iraq is the modern day Babylon. It is the same nation that the prophet Daniel lived in and warned the king of Babylon that the Medo-Persian Empire would destroy it, which they did. And a lot of people are saying that the United States is the modern day Babylon. Well, go back into the book of Daniel. The United States did not get destroyed, and obviously Daniel didn't write about the United States. He was writing about the real kingdom of Babylon that would be destroyed. And we know that it's going to be rebuilt again. So let me go on. It is the same nation that the prophet Daniel lived in and warned that the king of Babylon and Medo-Persian Empire would destroy, which they did. However, Babylon was not wiped out completely, as you will see. We know that Babylon has to be rebuilt to become the main hub of the financial activity in the last days. And this should be clear to everyone that such a city would not just merge overnight. As you know, the present-day Babylon, Iraq, has been engaged in war not only with the United States, who caused the downfall of Saddam Hussein, but with their own people who are trying to control the nation. Now, just to show you some of the news, Babylon, modern-day Iraq, is in the process right now of revitalizing itself. We have people, businesses from all over the world starting now, just recently, to migrate into Iraq because they see the potential of making billions of dollars in Iraq. And I believe that this is only the beginning of what's going to happen because of Iraq's oil supply, which is at the top of one of the top countries in the world for oil, and it's the best oil you can get. So let me read you the news. It says, but July 15 also saw a grand reopening of Baghdad's newest Rashid Hotel after $65 million renovation. Britain's Hawthorne International undertook the construction work, while Holland's Kempinski Hotel Group will manage it. The rebuilding of infrastructure, including palaces and airport, is evidences the ability of Iraqis to achieve what they want, Foreign Minister Hazza Zabawi said at the ribbon-cutting ceremony. Even as Iraq suffers an upsurge in violence, June alone saw 155 civilians killed in attacks, the most since January. Foreign investors are flocking to the country. It said Dana Frontier Consultants, a Washington, D.C. based consulting firm, estimates that foreigners were responsible for $45 billion in investments, service contracts, and other businesses in Iraq in the first half of the year. And that was double the amount of the same time in 2010. Where others see carnage, chaos, and corruption, investors see a potential oil-rich economy whose population of some 30 million is desperate for housing, roads, consumer products, and services. And let me tell you, that's exactly what's going to happen. Because as the American dollar dies out, and we see all kinds of news saying get rid of the reserve currency, the dollar reserve currency, and make it into a basket of currencies. And I believe in my heart that one of these baskets of currencies soon will end up being the Iraqi dinar, because the government is trying to form, and there's speculation that the Iraqi dinar will be RV'd, and then once that happens, Iraq is going to accelerate faster than you can believe to start to reignite the economy and eventually fulfill Revelation chapter 18. So there's a lot to watch for besides watching the killing that has taken place in Iraq. There's a lot of things going in the back scenes for investments. Now you can do Google. Please take the challenge. Do a Google search and put down investment in Iraq. You could say anything and you'll see what I'm talking about. Their investments that people are making in Iraq are paying huge, huge benefits. And these, I believe, are the paving stones to the fulfillment of the prophecy in the book of Revelation chapter 18.